There's my little D Live. Hello, Twitch. Hello, Twitch. YouTube. Oh. Who's that already? What? Check. Who's playing already? I'm so confused. Oh. Got it. Okay, that's what that was. I'm so confused. Oh. Alright, that was a mess. Twitter. And last, but not least, the foxhole. Alright. Oh wait, rumble. Rumble? Can I get a rumble? Rumble. Alright, rumble. Rumbalio. Hey, Rev says 5x5 over on Twitch. Thank you for that, brother. All right. Perfect timing.
Welcome to the 9dNation.
בראשית ברא אלוהים את השמיים ואת הארץ.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Thousands of years later, it was Wednesday at 11 p.m. Central. Get your passport ready and be prepared to declare to the customs agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. You're now crossing into the nation with no denomination.
Welcome to the G. Ross channel. Wednesday night show is called 9dNation. The nation with no denomination. Although I'm probably going to come off as, well, tell me. Let me turn down the music. Why is it so loud? Rookie mistake. I hang out between Reformed Baptist and Presbyterian and Bible Church. But there's no denomination. How's that for a deal? Black Yoda's in the house. The Texan's in the house. We are on episode 55. It is June 7th. And we've been reading the Bible for 54 prior episodes. And we have read from Genesis 1:1 through Genesis 24, verse 9. And our story so far could perhaps be summarized this way. After the one and only water-based reset, remember, no demon half-breeds, no murder, no blood drinking. Among the Japhethites, Shemite warlord Abraham, who merged peacefully into Philistine, sired half-Hamite Ishmael and blessed the world by almost sacrificing son Isaac. Sarah was buried in Hebron. Abraham decreed Isaac's wife would be from back home despite all odds. And I plan to take us through a very staggering 19 verses tonight. Is that right? 18 verses tonight. So, in order to get our panel on here, our co-host and our call-ins, co-host Black Yoda, call-ins, whoever wants to call in, hopefully by 40 minutes from now, maybe 35, let me just get right on it. Let's take this thing, like, pedal to the metal, basically. So, to pull that off, let me switch to our main screen. And let's get Genesis 24, chapter chapter 24, verse 10. Again with... I think I've made that mistake every time. Never not. All right. Let's... Genesis 24, 10. Gen 24. Verse 10. So we're going to go from Hya down to Hya. So let me zoom in. I think we can make it about that big. All right. My head and shoulders are covering up just a little bit, but you have your own copy you can read along with. Then the servant took 10 camels from the camels of his master and went out with a variety of good things of his master's in his hand. So he set out and went to Mesopotamia to the city of Nahor. He made the camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water when it was evening, the time when women go out to draw water. And he said, Lord, God of my master Abraham, please grant me success today and show kindness to my master Abraham. Behold, I'm standing by the spring, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Now, may it be that the young woman to whom I say, please let down your jar so that I may drink, and who answers, drink, and I will water your camels also. May she be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Isaac. And by this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. And it came about, before it finished speaking, that behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, came out with her jar on her shoulder. Kind of like this. The young woman was very beautiful, a virgin. No man had had relations with her. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, please, let me drink a little water from your jar. And she said, drink, my lord. Then she quickly lowered her jar to her hand and gave him a drink. Now when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will also draw water for your camels until they have finished drinking. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran back to the well to draw, and she drew for all his camels. Meanwhile, the man was taking a close look at her in silence to find out whether the Lord had made his journey successful or not. He's like, When the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing a half shekel and 2 bracelets for her wrists weighing 10 shekels in gold. And he said, whose daughter are you? Please tell me. Is there room for us to stay overnight at your father's house? She said to him, I'm the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to Nahor. Again she said to him, we have plenty of both straw and feed and room to stay overnight. Then the man bowed low and worshipped the Lord. And he said, blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not abandoned his kindness and his trustworthiness towards my master. As for me, the Lord has guided me in the way to the house of my brothers, my master's brothers. All right. That's the first step. Now, let's get... Now, the reason I do this next part is originally, and I think this is happening slowly, I wanted to, learn phonetically the language of Hebrew, just to hear it. To recognize it if spoken. I don't have time to learn a crazy language like this, like the old school way, with all the stuff going on in life. But I'm just trying to all right, so let's read 10 through 13, then I'll scroll down. So what I'm doing here is I've already read this and kind of typed in my own letters just by looking each one up. There's a tool you can do that. Bible Hub is pretty easy. And so I think I'm pronouncing this close to right. I'm just trying to learn what it sounds like to listen to this language without, spending a whole full-time job on it. So, I don't know. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. Truitt's in the house, and Nova's in the house. Morning. Vayika haeved asara gamalim migamela. Adonai vayelech vakal tuv Adonai vayado vayakam vayelech el aram naharaim el ir nachor vayavrech hagamalim mechus laer el ve'er hamayim leet erev leet set hasha oavot Vayomer haya Elohe Edoni Avraham hakre na lefane hayom vayetse chesed im Adoni Avraham. Hine anochi nitztzav al in hamayim ovenot anshe ha'er yotzeot leshov maim. I mean, you pick up the names. Chesed is that form of devotional, like giving or love. It's the Old Testament love word, Hesed, love. So, as you read this, you pick up a couple words slowly, like Hashemayim for heaven. All right, let's get some more verses read. 14, 15, and 16, then I'll scroll down. V'haya hana'ara asher omar eleha hate nachadech ve'ishte, vishte ve'amara shete vegam gamelecha ashke ota hochakta la'avdecha layetzchak, that's Isaac, uva eda ki asita chesed im Adoni. Vehi hu terem kila ladaver vihine Rivka yotzet asher yuleda Liv 12. Ben Milka eshet Nachor achi Abraham vechara al Shichma. Vehenara tovat mare meod betula veish lo yeda'a mat something ha'ayina vatemale kada vata'al. My autocorrect ate my face. All right, let's read 17, 18, and 19, then scroll down. Vayaras haeved leikra vayomer hagmiini na maim mikadech vatamer shete adoni vatamaher vatared kada al yada vatash kiho vatakal lahashkoto vatamer gam ligmalecha eshav adim kilu lishtot. Now, I may not be able to pronounce this right, but I bet I could get a job as like a Star Wars extra. Like with my foreign language, my space language. All right. Womp womp. G-Ross making the jokes. All right. 20 through 23. Then we'll scroll down. Vatamahar vataer kada el hashkohet vataras od el havair lishov vatishav lechal gemalo. V'hayish mishtea la macharish ladaat ha hishliak ahaya darko imlo. Vehi kasher kilu hagamaylim lishtot vayikach hayish nezem zahav beka mishkalo ushenet semedim el yadeha etzara zahav mishkalam. Vayomer bat mi et hakadi nila hayesh bet avik makom lanu lalin. Let's roll down. This is a big one tonight, but we'll go through pretty quick on the breakdown of it because there's not a lot of new words that we have to study that we haven't seen before. 24 through 27, and then we'll be out. Vatamer elau bet batuel anochi bin milka asher haleda linachar. Vatamer elau gam teven gam miuspo rav imanu gam makon lalon. Vayikod hayish vayishtaku hahaya. Vayomer baruch hahaya Elohe Adonai Avraham asher lo azav kazdo. Vamito meim Adoni anochi baderech nachani ahaya bet achi Adoni. Okay. Adoni. I don't need this. Sorry. Okay. Now let's go to verse 10 and start breaking it down. Let me inhale once. Okay. That was great. That was great. All right. So now starting with verse 10, let me quickly check on our chats. The Batman. So the Batman, I'm reading chapter 24 in my attempt to try to learn how to kind of like read the Hebrew. Because I'm just trying to get it to where I'm used to it. This is the first of many meeting women at well and talking marriage stories. Yes, Nova, for sure. Nice point. Yeah, 10 through 29, I think. All right, so now we're going to break it down. By By the way, the Batman, thanks for being here. And Truitt, and Nova, and Black Yoda, and the Texan. And let me check the Rumble chat real quick. Man, it's a little quiet in here, though, isn't it? But you guys are awesome. Facebook is quiet. Rumble is quiet. Back to build. All right, let's rock it. Doing pretty good. You need to roll my R's and pronounce my right. All right, let me go back to here. Let me read. I'll read the last verse. Vayomer Baruch Ahaya Elohe Adonai Avraham Asher Lo Azav Chazdo Vamito Meim Adoni Anochi Baderech Nachani Ahaya Bet Achi Adoni. Was that better? I always think of Mel Gibson in Spaceballs. It's like the absolute best guide, right? Isaac's story, and again with Jacob and Moses and Saul, spill over to the New Testament with Jesus and a Samaritan woman in John. That's right. And the woman at the well in John harkens back in many ways. Man, I did a dive on this. There's a way to tie it to early Genesis. Rebound, Gretzky scores. And Two Rivers points out, Jesus saves. Absolutely, brother. Okay, now, so verse 10, there's one new word, and by new word I mean, if you've been with this, the prior 54 episodes, somewhere along the way we've seen each of these at least word roots, if not direct conjugations. But we need to look at tube, or tub. Good things, goods, can be the, like, good things you carry around or have, but it can be the concept of goodness. There's 32 examples in the Law and Prophets, and by Law and Prophets, I mean Moses, basically, Moses and the Prophets, the Old Testament. It comes from a word tob, which we have seen in chapter 11, which means pleasing or good. I love that. The Egyptian tale of two brothers and the Spaceballs thing. So this verse tells us the servant took 10 of their camels and went with some great stuff from the house and went to Nahor in Mesopotamia. So our story so far would be what I said earlier at the top of the show, plus at great difficulty, Abraham sent for a Nahorian Mesopotamian wife for Isaac back home. Is that a word? Nahorian? Nahoritian? Let's go to the next verse, because we got a lot to get through before we get our co-host and calls. We have to look at the word sha'ab. That's to draw, usually of water, specifically of water. I think it's always of water, liquid, fluid. There's 19 examples in the Old Testament, or the Law and Prophets. 8 of those usages, though, are in this very chapter. But it's always followed by the word water, so I feel like they're translating it correct. StudyLight.org says it has to do with the sharp teeth in a snake's mouth. And so the way that makes sense is the way it eats a meal is how you'd pull the water from the well, which is actually a pretty, like, it made me start to wonder, like I often do, you've heard me do this, there's pretty good technology back in the day. This is an ancient story. So to put it all together here, this verse, he had the camels chill outside the city by a well in the evening when women come to get water. Let's look at verse 12. Verse 12. We have to look at, I think, gara, which is to a point. 27 examples in the Law and Prophets. It's the sun at the horizon and a man's head, so it's like a meeting or a gathering. So it could be an event or an occurrence, or it actually can't even mean, according to the super experts, the beams in a construction. So I feel like it has a very productive connotation, like a barn raising or something, like a propitious appointment or a prodigious appointment, or I don't know, I'm making up words. So the servant said, Ahaya. Oh, by the way, for those who, they've got a couple new people. Lately, I've been pronouncing the covenant name as Ahaya. I'm starting to lean back towards Yahweh, but I'm going to stick with Ahaya because I've been doing it for 54 episodes. The servant said, Ahia, God of Abraham, give good event or structure to me today and show kindness to Abraham. That's a good prayer, right? Let's look at verse 13. Let me glance at the chat. Mazel tov. Congratulating someone or something accomplished. Did we say Mazel tov a minute ago? Impeach 'em all, checking in, lurking. Two Rivers has gone AFK. Nova, that's the she's my sister, not my wife story. It's like the Egyptian tale of two brothers. Yeah, so at this point in our story, they've done that trick twice. I think that's the amount of times recorded. The Batman, I know a little bit of Yiddish and Hebrew because I lived in New York for 15 years, right? So you pick up some of it. What's funny is I'm a rural East Texas kid. I was like, man, they sure, and I did work for, as you know, Mad Magazine, because when you worked for DC, you worked for Mad. It was the same company. And I'm like, all these people speak Mad Magazine-ese. I really barely knew that was Yiddish or New York isms or word isms. I just was like, this is Mad Magazine to me. That's kind of what, yeah. Tov, right, okay. Tov is good. I tell you what, the Batman. It's slow going, but eventually my ears and my brain are going to start hearing this stuff, because I've been doing this for about a half hour a week for 54 weeks. So at some point, the motor's got to start running. All right, let me get back to it because we got like 15 more verses to go. Verse 13 here. If I can get back to my notes. There's no words here that we haven't seen in some way in the prior weeks. So, let me just summarize it. He goes, "Lo, check it. I'm here by the well of water, and the ladies of the town are coming out to go get water." All right. Since we've already read it once in English, and once in Hebrew, and there's no new words, I'm just going to skip right to the next one. Kod, a jar. There's 18 examples in the Law and Prophets. It's could be a bowl or a pitcher. 9 of the uses of this word are in this chapter. The other uses, I glanced at them. They do seem to fit the idea of carrying either a food or a powder or a liquid container of some sort. So, pretty straightforward. Na'ara, that's a girl or a maiden, and there's 63 examples in the Law and Prophets. Young lady, basically, is a pretty good translation. So he says, right here, "Let it be that the young lady I say, please lower your pitcher so that I may drink. And she says, yes, also I'll give your camels water. That'll be the one you mean for Isaac, and I'll know you favor Abraham." So that's a pretty good test, right? Because it's a lot of work. It's one thing to give some water to a dude. Like, draw your own water, man. You could always argue to yourself, well, he doesn't have a pitcher. I can see why he'd ask for that favor. But, yeah, let me spend the next hour here watering your camels. That took a while. I think he said he had 10 camels, right? So our story so far, according to me, I'll go back to the top of the book. After the one and only water-based reset, remember, no demon half-breeds, no murder, no blood drinking. Among Japhethites, Shemite warlord Abraham, who merged peacefully into Philistine, sired half-Himite Ishmael and blessed the world by almost sacrificing son Isaac. Sarah was buried in Hebron. Abraham sent his main servant to get a Nahorian Mesopotamian wife for Isaac from back home. The servant invented a sign from God scheme to pick her. I know I'm being harsh, but where did he get this idea? It's a pretty good test. And it's kind of like I can see how it would narrow people down. But to me, it comes across a little bit as all right, I'm going to throw this stick. If it lands straight up and down, then I'm supposed to take that new job or whatever. It's got that feel. Tell me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I'm not complaining. I'm just getting the feel for it. Adonai. Well, right. So, YHWH, I probably shouldn't be saying out loud, but I'm a good Protestant, so I can say YHWH out loud, but nobody really or I don't know how to pronounce it right. So there is the word Adoni in here, like we even read it a couple times. So my Lord or whatever. So I don't want to lose I totally get where you're coming from, the Batman. And then in the Chabad community, respectful big G, don't finish the word, is also Hashem. I did not know that. I probably should have. So if I phonetically say Ahaya, which is probably what I plan to do as the covenant name of the Tetragrammaton, I do hope that I'm not making anyone in an uncomfortable position. But I've been doing it for 54 weeks, so let me keep at it. You high vote high. Right. I could say that. Man, we got some great people popping in tonight. This is great. Mary BG2, Nova, Impeach 'em all, the Texan, Black Yoda co-hosting. Let me get back to it. I got to get Black Yoda on this call. Got another. All right, Yoda. I'm gonna jam through this. Let me hurry up. Okay. Because I promised the people. All right, so verse 15. Verse 15. It ended up being that before he finished talking even, Bethuel's daughter Rebekah, son of Milcah and Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her jaw on her shoulder. Her jaw with her jar on her shoulder. Pops out. So the servant invented a sign from God's scheme to pick Rebekah. Next verse. See, we can get through these pretty quick, right? Bethulah, a virgin. 50 examples in the Old Testament, Law and Prophets, used every time as virgin except for one time in Ezekiel 9:6. All the experts think it means maiden in Ezekiel 9:6. Now, in Ezekiel 9:6, a lot of people are getting... So I'm like, were they like wanting to kind of not, like if you say they were even killing the unmarried ladies, that's pretty barbaric, right? So maybe that's why everybody was like trying to say, well, here it means maiden. We are not going to get to Ezekiel at this rate for another probably 15 years. So I can leave that for then. But we will start to, probably not too long from now, start to see when the Canaanites get cleared out. So we can get into some tough questions then. We can also work on them tonight, no problem. But just going through the text, the meaning, if you look at the 50 usage in context, the term I think is well translated, a virgin. All right, so she looked hot and had never been with a dude and filled the jar with water. That's what we learn from this verse. How did the servant know she was a virgin? I mean, Moses is writing this. I hold to that. Kind of loosely, but I do hold to that. Probably she was dressed that way, I'm guessing. We always kind of hear that when we think about that. Or maybe just the narrator's telling us at this point. Like, he may not know that. But it kind of, I just was like, how does the servant know? He can look at her and go, she's hot. And she's drawing water. But how does he know she's a virgin? Maybe the jewelry or something, or we know how she was wearing her hair. Who knows? I'm sure some people know. I don't know. Verse 17. Gamma. Let me catch up with the chat. Hashem means the name. Right. Yud Yud Hai Vod Hai. Yud Hai Vod Hai. You put Yud twice, but so that's, yeah. All right. Checking on the other chats. See how they're doing. All right. Back to the task at hand. Gamma is to swallow liquids, but there's only 2 examples in the Old Testament or the Law and Prophets. The other time it's used to move rapidly along the surface of the ground. So studylight.org shows that it's a foot in water. So it's like to go to the pond to drink, perhaps. Because of the context, and we're only going to see this one more time in all of infinity, I'm not really too worried about this. But, you know, just want to let you know, this is one of those words that I'm like, I don't have much to go on here. So the servant ran to meet her and asked for a drink from the jar. Okay. Verse 18. Whoops. No, he gives her jewelry, yes, but did she maybe have a little something to indicate? Truett, what are you giving us here? Let's check it out. Live link, unvetted. Who knows what's going to come up? Guided meditations, the Havaya breathing technique. Calm in the chaos. All right, you got the link in the chat for... Oh, Mary BJ2. Yeah, no problem. The link in the chat for anybody who wants to follow up on that. That's awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Verse 18. She said, "Drink, Lord," and promptly lowered the jar to her hand and gave him a drink. Did he drink out of her jar? I mean, backwash. Or did she like pour it into her hand or into his hand? Probably she poured it into his hand. I don't know. So Abraham got a mail-ordered Nahorian Mesopotamian hotness from back home for Isaac. That's how I'm summarizing that section so far. We got more to go, though. All right, come on. I got to read that again. That was funny. Abraham got a mail-ordered Nahorian Mesopotamian hotness from back home for Isaac. Oh yeah. He's setting Isaac up. Hashem means the one. Virgins dress different. That's what I had heard. Yeah, that's right. Mary BG2. All right, verse 19. After she finished giving him a drink, she said, "Also, for your camels, I will draw until they're done drinking." Now, did she overhear him talking to God, or was he doing the quiet thing? I'm not going to speculate that. No. I think this is an honest story, of course. But you have to wonder, right? Just a little. All right, verse 20. She's like, "Oh, I heard him. I can, trick him a little." So, ara. That's a word we've not seen before. It's to be naked or bare. There's 15 examples in the Law and Prophets. Could also mean to empty out. So, like empty tub. Thum, thum, thum. Shoketh. That's a watering trough. There's only one other use in the Law and Prophets. It's 6 chapters later in Genesis. And it goes with watering animals also. So it's only used twice. It's got to be a trough, right? Like, what else could it be? But I didn't do a bunch of digging, but I don't really know for sure how they know this, other than they know this. But it's whatever you'd use to water a bunch of animals. So I'm guessing trough. What else could it be? So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran back to the well to draw water and drew for all his camels. It's a lot of camels. All right. Let's go to verse 21. We're rounding the corner. I think we're making good time. So we have to look at, let's see. Normally, what would she be doing at this time? This is the evening, right? So this is when you'd be watching like Falcon Crest or Dallas. But instead, she's out there like working her butt off. Really nice. Like good helping that she's given to the stranger. Now he's blinged out, right? But I don't know if she knows that yet because he hasn't produced the jewelry. Verse 21. 3 new words for us to look at here. Sha'ah, that's to gaze. There's only one usage in the entire Law and Prophets. StudyLight.org says it has to do with a storm crashing. So I kept looking at this, and what I started to realize is it's the aftermath of a storm. It's that desolate, he's like staring at her like it's quiet. The birds haven't come back out. Everything's kind of been flattened to the ground, and he's just like... So this guy's staring intently, he's peering. He's like judging her character by every little move she makes. Does she feel she's being watched? Maybe he's at least behind a camel, like trying to pretend to like pick at his fingernails. And he's like, yeah, this could be the one for Isaac. I don't know, maybe. Anyway, so he's definitely staring intently. Charash, that's all together. There's 74 examples in the Old Testament. It's to cut in, engrave, to plow, or devise. So he's scrutinizing her powerfully. like the way a plow would just like grind through the. He's like staring into her soul. Salach, that's 65 examples, and that means out or to rush out. It's a real energetic word, almost aggressive, from what I could see, looking at some of the usages. So the servant stared probingly and didn't give away the game so he could know, without tipping the scales, if this was really a God thing. You got to admire him for that, right? He came up with the scheme, now he's sticking to it. He's like, all right, it's in your hands, God. I got this feeling that he's kind of like figuring he's got to scheme hard, and God just goes, boom, here's your answer. You'll see in a second, he's like, wow. We read earlier, he's like, I've been blessed. This job was easy. Like, right to it. Because he was kind of dragging his feet the whole time. Abraham's like, look, you're not bound to this oath. If you can't talk her into it, you can't talk her into it. And he's like, whoa. Let me try this lady. I went right to my master's relatives without knowing. He didn't even, like, can you imagine going into the town and not knowing the street address, and you're just like, I'm just going to find my master's relatives. I'm just going to find them. And he didn't have to. I get the impression it could have been anyone from the town, preferably the more sort of centrally oriented, culturally the better, but then you kind of get the feel that, no, it was destiny. They were destined. Anyway, let me go to verse 22. I'm just babbling almost incoherently. All right, got a visual image on the cell. Stainless steel water camel bowl with non-skid. Where's my cell phone? I had to find my cell phone. Water trough. Forgot about the delay. Nova says, stainless steel camel water bowl with non-skid bottom. Hey, P-Thaggy, what's up? What a sticker. You always find the best. Cool. The Batman, I'll have to... I think my phone is out of reach. I have to get up out of this very hard to get out of chair. So we'll have to do that. Scheming pops out. Where was I? All right. We've got a couple more verses, and then we can make a good time. 35 minutes in. Hopefully I can get this done. All right, so here's where the bling comes out. So it says, Vehi ka'asher kilu hagemalim lishtot vayikach ha'ish. It ended up that when the camels finished drinking, the man took what? Nezem. That's a ring worn as an ornament. There's 17 examples in the Old Testament. It could be either a ring or an earring. Here it's a ring. Zahav, that's gold. We already know that. Bekah, that's half. There's two examples in the Old Testament. The other one's in Exodus, and it defines it for us with chatzah, which means midday or middle. So totally this means half. Mishkalo, that comes from Mishkal. That's got 49 examples in the Old Testament of weight. It's very similar to the word shekel. You see that in there, right? Mishkal, shekel. You can kind of see the similarity. Ushene, that's 2. Simidim, that comes from Samiid. That's a bracelet. There's only 7 examples in the Law and Prophets. 2 times we see it in the book of Numbers. Twice we see it in Ezekiel. And it's on his hands or arms. So it seems reasonable to say this would be a bracelet. And then the verse continues on. Al yadeha atzara zahav mishkalam. So on the hands and 10 gold shekels heavy. So I just said a mouthful, all put together. When the camels were done drinking, the man took a half shekel gold ring and 2 bracelets weighing 10 shekels. Next verse. Sinezer. Late, but we're not done. We got lots to go. So thanks for being here. All right. He asked her, who are you? And is there room in your dad's house for us to lodge? So Abraham sent for a mail-order Nahorian Mesopotamian hotness from back home for Isaac. His servant strangered up to some hottie throwing cash and asked where she lived and about her family. Now, the way I put it, it sounds a little alarming. I don't think this would be that weird. It's like a big caravan rattling a lot into town. It's still daylight, starting to be sunset. He's just looking for an inn to crash, right? I mean, and he brings out some bling. He's like, oh, let me show you my my credentials. Here's my credit card. Do you guys run an inn? Does anybody, So it's not that weird, but I had to tease a little. Verse 24. She said her dad is Bethuel and her grandparents are Milcah and Nahor. Now that's when he's like, whoa, nice. So among the Japhethites, Shemite Abraham moved to Philistine, had Ishmael with an Egyptian, and blessed the world by almost sacrificing Urian's son Isaac, meaning from the Ur of the Chaldees, because he was son of Sarah. Isaac got a wife from the family back in Nahor, Mesopotamia. That's how I'm summarizing this now. I'm taking away some of the jokes, and we'll just crunch it down to that. Verse 25. We need to look at mispo. That's fodder. That's a word you don't hear that often other than cannon fodder. There's 5 examples in the Old Testament. It's later on in Genesis and happens once in Judges. It's something you give donkeys or camels, whatever it is. So it's some sort of filler food for donkeys and camels, or, their staple, basically. And teben, that's straw. There's 17 examples in the Law and Prophets. So she said, yeah, we can even accommodate your camel train. It's a big parking garage for the fleet. So essentially is what. So here comes this dude with his whole entourage. And she's like, yep, no problem. So this is a pretty well-to-do family if you can suddenly house up 10 camels and all the men. And, the servant wasn't just by himself. Like, there's a posse here. Verse 26. We have not seen this word yet. Kadad. That's to bow down. There's 15 examples in the Law and Prophets, and it's always in relation to worship or homage. And it mentions his head, so this is kind of like just a head bow. So he bows and worships Ahiah, as I like to call the Tetragrammaton. Last verse of the night. Can you believe it? We made it, and it's right on time. I mean, the rules are there are no rules, but I do like to stay within like 40 minutes. Emeth. We got to look at that word. Firmness, faithfulness, or truth. There's 127 examples in the Old Testament. It usually means true, but it can mean faithful. Here, it kind of has the feel of honesty in this context, which makes sense, right? Nacha, that's to lead or guide. 39 examples in the Old Testament. Very straightforward on all the usages. I glanced at them. So the servant said, blessed by Ahiah, Abraham's God, who has not forsaken his mercy and his honesty to my master. I am randomly instant finding his actually family in this town. So let me read you our story so far as I have it, and then we'll open up the calls. After the water-based reset, remember no demon half-breeds, no murder, no blood drinking. Among the Japhethites, Shemite Abraham moved to Philistine, had Ishmael with an Egyptian, and blessed the world by almost sacrificing son Isaac from the Ur line. Isaac got a wife from the family back in Nahor, Mesopotamia. Part 1 of the show, done. Now time for the always exciting Part 2. All right, so the way I'm going to do this, so I'm going to slowly bring down the music levels. Oh, it's so quiet. Do you hear the quiet? You can't even hear it. It's so quiet. I got to turn off my camera because I got to then turn it back on. And we got to get the link. And I have found good luck with regenerating a new link every time. So let's get it going on. This is for, and these are Black Yoda's rules. What I'm about to say, I asked him once, I'm like, when do I private you the link? He's like, nope, just put it out. Put it out right away so people can jump in anytime. But co-host Black Yoda should be here any second now. A nose ring. No, it's probably a regular ring, Nova. You don't think... No, I think God chose Rebecca, Mary BG2, for sure, for sure. But I just didn't want to assume and read through the text. No, for sure God chose Rebecca. The camels were low riders with boom boom music. Good job, Nova. Sloan TV in the house. Black Yoda, what do you know?
What is up?
Man, so much. I got my nap in. I'm charged.
Let me see. That's kind of bright over there. I got that light right there. And it's kind of, I can see it shining.
It gives you a halo, man. Makes you look holy.
You know what? I've noticed that in the past. I just never said anything about it.
Actually, that one spot you used to sit in the other room with the light over you, that had a hardcore, like, effect.
Well, there's a mirror right there.
Yep.
And it reflects off of that. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, not a lot to go over.
Agreed.
I am, I know he took 10 camels, but how many other servants went?
I don't know. I'm thinking probably 4 or 5, just in my head.
Because how far is that trip anyway? Because I know a couple of camels are going to carry materials and whatnot, you know, or supplies.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so is he going back to, and I should have dug into this. Did he go back to Haran or did he go back to Ur? I should know that.
Haran.
Go ahead. Say.
I thought it was Haran.
Maybe, because a lot of his people went to Haran and then he broke down from there. But let's see. Nahor. Let's look where Nahor is.
Yeah.
I should have done this. Where is Nahor?
Yeah. Mesopotamia onto the city of Nahor.
Yeah, so let's see where Nahor is.
How was your week?
Oh, man. It was, I get beat down by the man, but he pays me. So it's like trading my soul for a little cash. Right. Never fun. Where is Nahor? It says right here it's... Okay, so yeah, it's up in the... Oh yeah, that's where Tehran and them hung out. So yeah, he went back to the launch pad basically, but not the further east location, but Nahor.
So how long do you think that would have took?
Oh, that's a month if you're slow, a couple weeks if you're pretty brisk, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
I mean, that's almost... He didn't quite go that far when he chased Kedorlaomer. He went about, 3/4 of that way up to Damascus? Oh, it says nose ring, Nova. I think it can mean nose ring. Yeah. No, don't apologize, Nova. We're here to learn.
Wait,
yeah.
What was talking about nose rings?
When he offered the rings... he gave her a ring and 2 bracelets.
Right.
It's the word can mean nose ring or finger ring.
Huh, I never knew that.
Oh, I gotta play the. You won't be able to hear this, but it's the drum roll for Classical Chick.
Yeah, I just saw she slid into the chat.
The one, the only, the original underscore. Classical Chick.
Oh, she's saying that her husband retires next Friday.
Boom! Shakalaka. So, was this like, hey, God, show me a sign, right? You know that sometimes you do. You're like, man, if I'm going to turn around real quick and the first thing I see, that's what God wants me to do, right? Like it's got a feel of that. What do you think about that?
I mean, it flats out tells you.
Right.
I mean, everything he asked for is everything that she did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could make the argument that what he asked for, anybody with kindness would have did the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, these little villages or whatever, they're small, so they know when somebody is just passing by.
Right.
So to be kind, that's not, what's the word I'm looking for? I would, yeah, that wouldn't be unusual. I don't think. You know what I
Right.
mean? If anything, it came off to me like he was just like in a hurry. You know what I mean? He didn't really take time to vet anybody else.
Right. Right. Well, could she maybe be really, really nice, polite, and super hot?
I mean, for something as big as Abraham's son trying to find a wife for him,
Yeah.
you would think he would have a couple of interviews, you know?
Mm-hmm. But then he finds out she's from the top house, like the one that Abraham would have picked if he could have told him where they lived. You know,
We haven't gotten
because
to that point yet.
they had
But,
gotten word that Milcah had borne children to Bethuel. Remember, they said that earlier in the text. So probably this servant had heard about that. Like, he'll know almost everything Abraham knows.
that'd be real coincidental. I mean, I know that's his top servant. Oh, you know what? That's actually a good point. Because he would be familiar with, his brother's kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would have heard. Hey, good news! Because remember when they say it, she bears like 5 children, and that
Hmm.
was basically considered good news that came to them from far away. It probably got Abraham thinking, yeah, I got to get Isaac a wife pretty soon. Otherwise, he's going to get some local hotness, and that's not going to work out. He's thinking.
Yeah, because that is his top dog. How would Texan say it? He would call him, that's his hoss.
Right. That's his hoss. That's right.
uh, that's funny.
Yeah, Mary BG2 says exactly what I was talking about, laying down a second fleece or laying a fleece. Right. It's so you can get God to tell you an oracular answer. But we're going to see in Leviticus, I guess it is, we're going to see when we get there, the priests actually have an ephod and a, where they can reach in and basically play crazy 8-ball or magic 8-ball, to figure out God's will.
Wait, elaborate on that one.
So there's what's called the ephod and the, now I'm losing my memory. Let me look it up. Ephod and...
I mean, I get your analogy.
Mm-hmm.
I get the analogy. I don't recall that being a thing.
Yeah, so what they would do is when they needed to figure out which tribe would go where or solve disputes between tribes, there was a breastplate with 12 stones, and they could kind of activate or light up or somehow make more reflective or whatever, basically kind of casting lots, and it would be revealed as to how to. And there was also a black and a white stone that you could pull out from the side for a straight yes and no questions.
That does sound kind of familiar.
Yeah. And it was legit and okay to do, but you had to be in the priest class to use the technology.
If anything, you need to know how to play Yahtzee. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right, exactly. Exactly. It's the breastplate, the ephod, and the, why can I not remember this? It's like...
Wait, because isn't there another part of the Bible where they talk about something similar to that?
Yeah, it comes up a few times. I don't know if they have it much after the first 5 books. Here, let's actually look in the Bible Hub. Here, let's search the Bible. Ephod. So it's in Exodus. Let me see where else that word shows up. See how late it goes. It goes all the way to, click on all the usages. It's in Exodus, all the way out to Hosea, it's mentioned. So it goes into the prophets. I think Hosea is a prophet. But it's mostly, it's like, it goes all the way to 1 Samuel. So like Saul and them, through the judges.
Who am I thinking about?
Oh, I'm thinking of the by the way, the black and white stones was the Urim and the Thummim. That was the word I was trying to remember.
Joseph didn't meddle with any of that stuff when he was working under Pharaoh, did he?
No, he was more of a dream interpreter and a really smart dude, I think. And Mary BG2, I think casting lots, you can see that they cast lots for Jesus's clothes, and from that moment on, the followers, like the apostles, like you don't ever see them doing that. They do. I think they cast lots once to figure out who the new replacement apostle's going to be, or the first deacon, Stephen, and I think that's it. Nova points out they had free talk and text to God. Well, it wasn't that free. It cost lots of slaughtered animals at the altar, but yeah, they got the barbecue goodness out of that. I don't know if they had to slaughter. I don't know how it worked. Like you slaughter a goat, consult the ephod. I'm not sure how that worked.
I don't know. But yeah, if anything, it just really sounded rushed to me with the servant.
Yeah.
You just think, he would have did more vetting.
Yep.
But sometimes you know a good thing when you see it. So.
Well, and did he not send Isaac to help select? Because Isaac would have been like, I ain't coming back. I like it here better.
No, he didn't want Isaac to go at all.
Right.
I mean, I mentioned that like twice.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that like Isaac would have seen, oh man, half the family's here. Let's just move back.
I don't know, but remember before it was talking about how Isaac never really traveled anywhere. He was always with Sarah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's a very good catch.
So
that's a real
that by itself, would probably have something to do with why he didn't want Isaac to go.
Right. He might have just looked for like somebody else's grandma and just like, good, someone to cook my meals for me again, and just kind of like moved back into the basement.
And plus, with the popularity of Abraham, even though he's on the right side of God, he's got to have haters, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And they catch Isaac slipping, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Very good point. Yeah, I'm glancing through the text to see if there's any other points. This, you actually end up hearing this water jar test, I want to say 3 times. Like he says that he's going to do it, then they do it, and then later he tells Rebecca's parents, you'll never believe what happened. I said this thing, and we'll get into this next week, I think. He's like, I said this thing, and she did exactly what I said. And they're like, wow, well, she's got to move out of the house then. Like they just go, sold.
Yeah, you know what? I might read ahead on that one tonight.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little curious. How did... I don't remember how he convinced the parents like it was all good,
2 Rivers is over and out, so thanks for stopping by, 2 Rivers. Yeah, get some sleep, 2 Rivers. Nova is saying Isaac is not so important, just the sacrifice story and small others. He never got a new God-given name. Okay, we talk about the patriarchs, right? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. A lot of times they go together, right? Because you go, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, Jacob gets the new name Israel. And Abraham is obviously like the big cheese. So yeah, Isaac is kind of the stepping stone. But what's interesting is he sets up some of the stuff that Jacob ends up repeating as far as styles, and he is like kind of fractal in the between there. I don't know. Like I get what you're saying. He doesn't get a lot of airtime. Yoda, you were about to say?
No, even Jesus makes reference to that trifecta: Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, to say he's not that important, I mean, Jesus talks about them in reference to heaven. So I wouldn't call them small cheese, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's real. My brain will quickly go relative. Like if you put Godzilla next to King Kong, now King Kong looks small, but he just used to look big, you know?
Right.
Mary BG2 just may have given us an excellent conversation topic that even ties into what we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it.
Yeah, the lot is cast, but the decision is the Lord's. Providence 16, verse 33. So before I say what I want to get out of that, let's chat about it if you got anything.
You know, I was just looking at something, Proverbs earlier today, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think I pounced on Nova. He's like, no, I'm just saying the storyline's short. Yeah, that's totally true.
No, I agree with that. Totally. Proverbs to me is like really random on just good ways of thinking in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it tells a complete story. Certain parts.
Yeah, it starts out like wisdom as a personified, you know, and kind of goes into that, but then
But no, that was a good catch.
So if you go to Vegas and you bet $100 on, I don't know how it works, I've never played craps, you put those dice in your hand and you shake them and you roll them, does God control all their bouncing?
If he's not, demons and angels might.
Right? And we know from Job that they only can if he lets them, right?
I mean, you could have an angel help blowing in one direction and a demon blowing in another. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're not supposed to have influence over us, but they could probably have some influence over some dice. You know how I mean that, right?
Yeah, no, I do. And let me put myself into some hot water because this is a direction. I don't usually go this far, but I think this is a good chill night to do this. I'm pretty sure, you never know what you really believe until gun to head, but I'm pretty sure that deep down, and I've been like this since I was about 30, and I can say why. I think even like quantum mechanics, and I studied quantum mechanics in school. I actually don't think it's a complete theory, as Einstein was quoted as saying, like he was very upset with the randomness in it. Like I don't think there's randomness in the universe, is what I'm getting at.
There was a movie with Nicolas Cage, and I think it was Meg Ryan. And Nicolas Cage is an angel.
Oh yeah.
And at the beginning of the movie, if I remember right, they're in a convenience store. And something bad was about to happen. And one of the angels was in the convenience store, and it was somebody else in there. I can't remember if it was another angel, but they were trying to have influence over the situation so the people wouldn't overreact. But I haven't seen that movie in forever, bro. It just popped in my head when we were talking about the dice.
Sneezer in the chat says there's always balance. One wins, another loses. I know. I hear you. It's a zero-sum game concept, right?
You know, I try to see the beauty in the world and try to stay focused on it, but I know how much ugly and evil is in the world, and it's kind of hard to say if it's balanced. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it's balanced. Like just with COVID and everybody that took that shot, that doesn't seem balanced to me.
Good point.
But
Nova is double clicking on my question. Yeah, I'm actually working with a model of the universe that says every drop that there is no chaos, in the sense of there can be what we see as it looks like chaos. I mean, even the Bible talks about the deep being chaotic and useless, and the earth was, before it dried out, was formless and void, chaotic, useless, nothing, no good patterns. But it is completely, I'm claiming that the movement of every electron is fully controlled, if that makes sense.
say that again. I was reading the chat. I'm sorry.
No. I was more replying to Nova. Nova's asking how deterministic is my philosophy, and I'm saying I'm trying to push it to full determinism, absolutely down to the wire. Last little bit.
You know, I believe in random, and I also believe in God.
Which is
And
greater? Sorry, I interrupted.
I think a better way of putting that is, when is it important for him to intervene
Sure.
versus just leaving it to random,
Sure.
right? Like when you go over stuff like Project Looking Glass, they were able to manipulate a thing, but it get after, what was it, 2012, it got reduced to a way where no matter what they do, they can't affect the outcome.
Right.
It just is what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So in part, I think that has a little something to do with what we're talking about.
Yep. I don't think I can biblically prove my viewpoint, and I might just childishly want one timeline. I hate the Mandela effect so much. You and I have talked about this. It drives me bonkers.
Yeah, you know, I look forward to the new changes only because it's funny to me. But when I first learned out about it, dude, it scared the hell out of me because reality is not supposed to change. What's in the past is supposed to be done and over with. You know what I mean?
Hey, I got a Mandela effect for you. This one hit pretty big. You probably already came across this, but you know that Michigan J frog, that green Warner Brothers frog?
Oh, yeah.
And he sings that song.
Mm-hmm.
He sings, "Hello, my baby. Hello, my something.
Darling. Hello, my one time.
And my ragtime doll." Okay, everyone says darling. It has never been darling. It has always been honey, which I call bullshit.
Wait, hello, my honey?
Yeah, that's what it's always been. That's a Mandela effect straight up. It's a huge one. It's been taking the people by storm this week.
Dude, no, it's always been hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
They changed it. CERN changed it. It is now honey. I got a housekeeping yeah.
That's why I got to a point where I just laugh at it now. Because
Yeah, I know. So,
when you look at the things that have been affected or changed, you know, you got names, you got icons, logos, things in songs, things in movies. And it's just gotten to the point where it's ridiculous to me now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just saw.
Krusty passes a hello through Duppy. They were, and for anyone who was looking for the Krusty stream tonight, there won't be a stream tonight, but everything's good.
Are you talking about Uncle Krusty?
Uncle Krusty. That's right. Now, let me throw this at you. Did you see where Sneezer said this? I think this is a great conversation piece right here. Evil is misunderstanding and balanced by time.
Misunderstanding what?
Yeah, I'm going to go against the statement as well. I think you and I are going to be more kind of over here versus an over there. I don't that that's kind of got a dualist feel, good, evil, light, shadow, left, right, kind of a dualist feel. Not trying to put words in Sneezer's statement there, but I think there can be absolute evil. That's not a misunderstanding. I'm going to claim, but I'm in a friendly chat here. I think you're saying similar.
I don't think evil is normal.
Right.
I think some people are just born broken. What are the ones that are born without feelings?
Oh,
The
like a
psychopath?
sociopath? Yeah.
Yeah. That's not normal to me. Like, you should have a God spark.
Oh, Mary BG2 is not affected by that. Yeah, you should have a God spark. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the chat. She was saying that she sings at Honey.
Sneezer's asking about the lion and lamb. I don't have that Mandela effect. I know the song, and I understand. You have that one?
Yeah. To me, it
Yeah.
was always the lion laid with the lamb. And now it's the wolf.
Right. And I always saw it. Like that one didn't hit me, but yeah. So.
Oh, and then you got the Lord's Prayer. There's that one. You know about that one?
No, I haven't seen that one change.
Forgive us of our whatever the hell. Trespassers and transgressors or whatever.
Right. Versus debts.
Debt and debtors.
I think that's just two translations that are still out there, though. Those have been out there. Like I've heard that for. Like I would go to Catholic Mass and hear it one way, and I would go to the Baptist church and hear it the other way. So I've always heard those since the 70s.
Nah, but for me, it was always Lion and the Lamb. And my old boss at Honeywell, he could see the Mandela effect changes. He thought it was funny. A little creepy, but funny, until I started pointing out stuff in relation to the Bible.
Right.
Because he's a pastor,
yep.
Right? And we got into a big ass argument over that, over the lion and the lamb thing, because he said one of the people at his church that came up to him and asked him about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even I'm looking at him as we're talking about it, right? And he's telling me about the person at his church,
right?
And you can see it messing with him. He knows it's supposed to be lying. You know what I mean?
No. So that comes from Mary BG2 is pointing it out. That comes from the song. So I'm going to be the guy that's going to annoy everyone. That's not a proper Mandela effect. Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, and he's also the Lamb of God. So he's been the lion and the lamb in the Bible. But that verse from, is it Revelation? The wolf will lie down with the lamb. I don't think that changed, but I could be wrong.
When I was a kid, my grandparents, or mostly my grandmother, she used to give me all those Bible books when I was a kid. The really thin ones that had the illustrations and stuff.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember on the cover of one, a lion and a lamb, and it was painted like watercolors.
Absolutely. That I saw my whole life. But I would still do that. I would still put that in a kid's book.
No, it was never wolf for me. There's another one in the Bible. Some people are saying that the Bible didn't used to talk about planets, but now it does.
It talks about wandering stars, the planeta. But it takes a while to get into it. Yeah, that's a good point. Let's see where the word planet first comes in.
Then there was a verse somewhere where they're talking about a couch.
Mm-hmm.
The couch, the way we knew it, wasn't invented until the early 1800s or something, or maybe even earlier than that.
That's crazy. Planet in the Bible.
Because, oh man, I forget what that verse was talking about. They either moving something out or moving something in, but they referenced it as a couch. Let me.
Huh.
Make sure my
So
phone
it takes a while in the Bible before the planets are mentioned. And I do find that really interesting. Some people have said those were misbehaving stars, that they decided not to stay in their place. Have you picked up on
I
that?
can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever taken the time to look at the videos where they're zooming in on stars and you see a pattern of lights?
Yeah, okay. So I wonder, every time I see those, and I saw your awesome Facebook where you showed that, you were getting that on the ceiling of the garage.
The reflection off of the dog bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What I wonder, is that an artifact of the lensing and the optics and stuff inside the cameras? I'm not really sure. I haven't deep dived on that.
Because the same way that some of those videos depict stars and how they have the geometric pattern, every time I touch the water, the geometry of the pattern was more visible, and then it would just fade away. The ripple would fade away. You know what I mean? So that was my eyes on the reflection. There was no lensing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where is Jay on this motherfucker? Okay, there we go.
Same place as always.
For some reason, I just didn't see it. You know what I mean? Let me see. Seabed, couch, bird, what happens?
Mary BG too she brings up a good point. Let's look up.
Here, let me write this one down because this one is going to take a minute because I'm looking at all kind of examples on couch.
Mm-hmm.
But here, let me look this up at least.
So Isaiah 11. Yep.
The reason why people were pointing that out is because the actual couch, the way we know it, wasn't invented until. Let me type that in.
Studylight 2061. Let's go. While you're doing that, I'm looking up the word for wolf.
The first recorded image of a sofa was dated to 1686.
How is the food of the house anything related to a wolf? It's like,
Where are you seeing that at?
I'm looking up the word for wolf, which is like zeeb. It's only used in the Old Testament 7 times. Wolves in the evening, wolves tearing, wolf deserts. So it could be anything. So who translates it as a wolf? How do they know?
All right, let me look up that verse.
Let's see, Google.
That's Isaiah 11, 6 through 9.
Mm-hmm. How do we know Zeb is wolf? Could even be tiger. Well, Oreb and Zeev.
What is a fatling?
Oh, probably one ready for slaughter. Yummy and lots of good taste, I'm guessing. So Oreb and Zeeb tend to go together a lot. A raven and a wolf.
Actually, that's a thing. That is actually a thing. Like,
Good job, faggy. Go ahead, I'll tell you in a
what
second.
happens? All right, say there's coyotes, right?
Yeah.
Wolves can't stand coyotes.
Okay.
So what happens is the ravens, they'll fly above, and the wolves will follow the ravens because they're telling the wolf where the coyote is.
Ah.
And sometimes you'll see the bird actually playing with the cubs. Wolf and Raven is actually a thing, bro. They work
Okay.
together.
So
Yeah.
since wolves and ravens work together, and you got a bird and a a fanged animal, probably it is a wolf and a raven. So
And
yeah,
then they just pick up the scraps. You know what I mean?
they work together. So
No, they,
Thaggy said a word for food of the house is wolf because we wolf down the food of the house. That was a good one.
is he being funny or is he being serious?
Probably both. It actually works. Cool. Interesting. Mary BG2 says they laid on couches during Pesach or Passover. Let's see if the word couch is even in. There's
Because
divan.
one of the lines I was looking at, in the same line, it made reference to a bed, but the fact that they used the word couch is what everybody thought was weird.
Right. When
or at least the truthers I knew from back then.
There's paintings of 1895, but the sofa was invented earlier. So when was the sofa? 1686? Here, when was the sofa?
When I was looking up couch, it came up 1686, I think.
Yeah.
But then you got to wonder, well, what were they sitting on if they weren't using furniture like that?
So here's another link that says sofas have been around since ancient Egyptian, but the pharaohs in the upper crust weren't lounging on anything close to today's. So they just upgraded them.
I could see the bed thing being a thing.
Yeah.
Even when they used to carry Cleopatra in that, I used to know the word for that. Damn it, that box, and you got the slaves carrying the handles.
Right.
Even then, she was on a bed. But you know what? Sometimes in some of these depictions of like with Chinese, you see them sitting on something cushiony. And I'm talking like ancient China.
Yeah, I got to think, man, the way I am, I would constantly be looking for some kind of like burlap sack to stick some hay in. I do not like sitting on a rock.
Pete Aggie said a chase lounge.
Yeah. Shay lounge.
I just know when I first learned about the Mandela effect, the one that got me was the squiggly tail on the Ford logo.
Oh, yeah. Where'd that come from?
And so I'm listening to a video. I'm at work and I'm on the microscope working on a circuit board, but I'm just listening to my headphones, you know?
Yeah.
And I hear them say the squiggly thing on the Ford logo. And I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? So I back it up and I'm looking at the picture. And I'm looking at the squiggly thing and I'm like, there ain't no way in hell that's been there all this time.
Right. You'd know that.
What I mean?
Yeah, you'd see it.
And so this must have been my like third or fourth Mandela effect video. And I'd already been talking about it with my coworkers. And my boss just happened to walk into the lab at the same time. And so I'm like, Bruce, and you got to keep in mind, Honeywell is a huge facility, right? That building is damn near a quarter mile long. Or at least the property is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I showed Bruce the picture. And I was like, dude, I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go to the parking lot. I'm going to find an old car and a new car.
Yeah.
And take a picture of the logo.
Okay.
And so one of the first vehicles I find is a newer Ford, right? And I'm looking at the logo and I'm like, all right, well, maybe they just changed it because it's new. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm looking around the parking lot for I'm trying to find the oldest Ford I can find in the parking lot. You know what I mean? And I find this car, it had to be like early 80s, late 90s, or I said that backwards. Late 80s, early 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same damn thing. And dude, I literally just started to shake a little bit. Like, what the hell is happening? You know what I mean? One of my coworkers, he used to have a Ford back in the day. I forget what kind of car he said it was. Outside of being a Ford, like I don't remember the model or whatever. But when he saw it, he was like, "There ain't no way in hell that used to be there. I had a Ford." You know what I mean?
Right. He would
And
know.
so, yeah, that was one hell of a week for me, people,
I don't
because
think
all
this.
kinds of stuff. Like,
The,
I mean, it was like every day people were finding new Mandela effects back then.
mm-hmm. Yeah, this. I'm looking for old Fords. This one's not. This is too blurry.
Look, just type in Mandela effect here. I'll do it.
Well, right, but I want to do it without the Mandela, just to see if I can find
No,
like.
there'll be a picture that pops up. It'll have the old style
Yeah.
next to a picture with the squiggly.
But does anybody have any legit photos of like a really old car that has the old logo, or are they all Mandelaed?
From what I understand, people have done homework on that, and as far as Ford is concerned, it's always been that way.
Well, Ford has to say that. They're part of the evil cabal, probably. See, it's hard to see in this picture. It's hard to see if the squiggly is that. It's hard to see.
Let me close this down here. Let me open up Edge.
Anyway, I'm not going to find anything better than everyone else has already found, but yeah, it's freaky.
Dude, it feels weird typing on the laptop because
Yeah.
I'm so used to using my phone and spell check popping up. Images. Let's see. Yeah, on a lot of these, I wish they didn't have that angle. All right, I'm looking at a picture. How do you do that screen grab thing? Um, Damn it. I'm looking
Passover.
at it.
Yep.
What the fuck did I just do?
Mary BG2 says Passover, no longer slaves, so laying on the couches for the meal.
All right, I'm looking at a picture that has an old ass Dukes of Hazzard style Ford truck. All right, they're at it, I'm assuming it's like a Ford car lot
Yeah.
because I can see service to the side, and they have a Ford logo at the top. It's got the squiggly tail.
Hate the squiggly tail.
Here, let me What's that snippet tool? I need to pull that damn thing up.
I think it is called snipping tool.
Here, let me type it in the search. Cause I'll try to snip it and oh, there it is right there. Here, let me do new.
Oldest Ford logos were not cursive. Agreed. Print screen or Windows Shift S. All right.
No, I got it.
So I got a picture from the Batman, Bruce Q. Wayne. So here's the letters we were talking about earlier. Yod, He, Vav, He. Right? Let me show this right there. Yeah.
Now I got another problem. I don't know where the snip just went.
I am that I am. Here's the...
Oh, there it is.
logos.
So some photos. All right, here, let me go to Facebook. That looks really blurry.
Yeah, I can't... So it's had sort of that according to this picture, it's had sort of that Coca-Cola feel pretty much all along. But I don't like it.
Hey, Bernie, this thing is saying that, like, I was trying to load my Facebook, but it's saying that it's not secure and it doesn't want to do it.
Oh, Rogan apparently had a reaction.
Yes, he did. Yeah, I saw that. This is fucking annoying. Here, let me use
Yeah, Nova says it always had. Oh, did I show it backwards? Did my camera reverse that? Oh, I got... Man, we're getting texts from all over about the... Oh, wow. I don't know if this is reversed. Let's see.
well, you're already blurry. So when you try to hold something up, it's just blurry. You've been blurry this whole time.
Man, something's wrong with my... I got all kinds of problems on the broadcast, actually. I'm looking at it now. In, the chat's not even on the screen. I got problems. Let me fix them. Ah, this is terrible.
Wait, what do you mean the chat's not on the screen?
My chat's not showing on the broadcast for some reason.
I see it.
You
Well,
do.
actually, the second to the last person to make a comment was Pete Thaggy about that Chase Lounge,
Mm-hmm.
is what I see. And I see the spinning wheel of death.
There we go. That's the wrong one.
Oh, my internet is acting up. All right, let me figure out what the hell is going on here.
So here is... So this is backwards, so I got to flip this somehow.
No, it's not backwards, but...
Not to you, but it is going to be on the screen.
Oh.
Let's see if I can unmirror for a second. There we go. That is cool. That's a thermometer. That's awesome. Oh, I'm doxing people. Hang on. Not quite, but taking the risk. All right.
All right, so I couldn't connect. Something happened to my internet connection, and I had to reconnect it. Gremlins.
Let me fix my...
Gremlins don't like it when we talk about God. It's just that simple.
True that. There we go. I got the chat fixed. Man, everything was all mangled. Oh, Ford had a signature like that. Oh, Ford's dipshit grandson put the curly Q on the Ford signature. That's hilarious. Well, I do believe in the Mandela effect, but let me tell you something. I hate that F curly Q so much. I could see not seeing it, and it was there the whole time.
Nah, because even when I was a kid, I always thought the Ford logo was pretty cool.
Right?
I don't know why I always thought that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like I didn't look at it.
Yeah, and then if it had the pigtail, you would have hated it.
Did you tell him about the little symbol on Julian's truck?
What symbol?
The FJB.
Oh, my mechanic friend had bought a Ford 550,
Mm.
and it had an FJB edition on the side.
Nice.
It was under something else though. Was it? It said like Ford or
Yeah, it was.
it said Ford F50 or 550. Then it said FJB edition underneath that. Somebody stuck that on there, but he didn't know what it meant.
That's funny.
He had to go to Colorado to pick this truck up.
Yeah.
You know. And yeah, we were just cracking up about that because he had no idea what it meant.
Does G. Russ know what it means?
Yeah.
It means let's go, Brandon.
Pretty much.
Yep. Mary BG2 is asking someone how old they are. I'm 54.
I just had a birthday last Friday. I just turned 47.
So we covered duality, determinism, the text, the Mandela effect. That's all I got.
All right, I'm still trying to get past. Oh, now the gremlin finally got bored. All right, so I'm on my. Ooh, who is that? I did not know that's what she looked like. Ooh, wee. Damn.
We covered children. Did we cover children?
Woo. All
Um,
right, I'm going. Oh man, I gotta find this picture. Add photos. Blah blah blah. Let me figure out where this here. It should be there. I just took a snip of that. What you call it? That Ford,
mm-hmm.
and I forgot where the picture went.
I think if you go, the third button shares your screen
On Foxhole.
on Jitsi.
Oh, that's on my phone. I took the snippet on my laptop.
Oh, okay. Got you. Oh, you can put it in the chat and I'll show it.
I gotta find it.
Right on.
I took the I used the snip tool, right? And then I thought it put it in the pictures folder.
Oh, here, let me share this out so you can see this while you're doing that.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's at the bottom. Well, if you can't tell, I hardly ever use this laptop.
Now, remember the way the Mandela effect works is it goes back in time and erases history. So These old pictures have changed according to the Mandela effect. Mary BG2 had a birthday 2 weeks ago. Woot.
Oh, sweet. Let me this PC. This one. Program files. Users.
Black Yoda's on a deep dive.
Well, no, I'm just trying to find that damn folder. Because I know for a fact that it showed up as far as being in the.
I think you have an 1865 chaise lounge right behind you.
Are you talking about that chair right there?
Yeah, it looks pretty comfy.
Oh, it is. A friend of mine gave it to me. Actually, just a few days ago.
Prairie Fire says file save from inside the snipping tool. Did you do that part?
Yeah, but where did they put it?
Probably in pictures.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't save it.
Yeah, you have to hit file save, I think.
All right, hold on. Let me do it because I still got it. It's still snipped. It's right here. I'm looking at it. You know what? Let me take a picture of it with my phone and I'll just send it to you. Shit, this is annoying.
So if you go to this one, I almost feel like I see a breaking of the 8 in. Let me find it.
All right, I'm going to my Facebook and I'm putting it on there through my phone.
Okay.
Damn, I should have did that in the first place.
I would
You
argue
know?
that this one is a breaking of the 8. The circle on top and the circle below, which is an MK Ultra technique. Not good.
All right, let me close all that out. Go back to the. I'll have to look that up later because that's going to be something I'm going to want to play with in the future.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, what you got on deck?
Not much topic to go over. I was hoping Duffy or Thaggy would pop in because they help us freestyle a lot more, you know, especially if we don't have a lot to go over.
You know, something like 18 verses, so went as far as I dared.
Yeah.
Next week, we can get through, let's see what I got. Genesis 24. Yeah, I'll try to do 28 through like 41, maybe even further. But, I mean, this story kind of repeats. The whole next paragraph, he tells the parents what we just saw. So I'll get through it as fast as I can.
I will go over it.
Yep.
Before next Wednesday to see how much it repeats. Because when he bought that cave, I mean, it repeated for a long time, bro. You know what I mean? Where they were haggling over the suckles and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, for that whole page, the whole thing was almost just one big repeat.
Yes. He's like, "Are you sure you can?" He's like, "No, I'll take it for free. No, I'll pay you the $400."
Yeah.
Just back and forth for a while. So, yeah.
Did you see the truck in the dealership that I was talking about on my Facebook?
Oh, sorry. Let me go to your Facebook. Facebook, Steven Ferner.
But even if the Mandela effect changes the past, that's not my past.
Did you tell him about getting water hose set in?
Nah. Remember we were talking about gremlins?
That's an old sign. Yeah.
Dude, Saturday, we're sitting out here on the front patio, and it's Phoenix. It's summertime, it's starting to get warm.
Mm-hmm.
So Bernie asked me, "Hey, is it too early to turn on the evap cooler?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Nah, it's warm. I'll turn it on." Now on that spigot, I have a splitter. One hose goes to the evap cooler. The other hose is wrapped up outside. That's what I use to water my plants.
Right.
So on that splitter, there's two black knobs, and you just turn it, for which hose you want to use, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that whole setup is connected to the main. This is just the pipe is just longer. It sticks out.
Yep.
As soon as I touched the black little knob, like I barely touched it, bro.
Yep.
The entire pipe exploded off of the main.
That's weird.
And I mean, it is shooting out fire hydrants.
Right. I heard that you had a fire hose, like a lot of water, but I didn't realize the first part of that.
Yeah, man. That was crazy. Wow. And so I turn off the main, and a guy comes out about an hour later. It took him a couple hours to fix it. But he shows me the pipe. It was never soldered all the way around. It was barely tack soldered on one side. Like literally, just tack soldered. How that hasn't happened decades ago is beyond me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just glad it happened while we were home.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, it was coming out fire hydrant style. Like, no joke. I was soaked.
Prairie Fire points out that Ford cannot be held responsible for gremlins. That was AMC. Got Bernie.
That's funny. That's funny.
So Mary BG2 says, history is not wrong. People's memories are confused because of the entertainment business.
Well, man, I should have saved this one.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier today, I came across something talking about Project Looking Glass and how it might be responsible for the Mandela effect. The merging of timelines, realities, how you want to look at it. Some people think it's CERN. I don't know what it is.
Right.
Everybody I've ever talked to about it, the most we get, as far as we get as to understanding it, is speculation.
Mm-hmm.
We try to hit it with just logic. What do they call it? Occam's razor, where you remove all the dumb stuff and you should be left with the proof.
Right.
Yep. I honestly don't know.
Yep.
I just know my son was yellow growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's white. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. So, dude, she goes by the name Chick. She used to be affiliated with SMQAI about the Mandela effect.
Okay.
She go over land changes, like continent.
Australia being lower and to the right or something?
No, that's South America.
Okay.
And Cuba is huge as shit. You know what I mean?
Cuba is big.
Dude, I'll give you another one. For me, the Panama Canal went east to west. But because South America is so far to the east now, it goes north and south.
Yep, they stretched it.
Yeah. I mean, people could think I'm crazy if they want to. I know what I remember,
Mm-hmm.
It would be one thing if I was a dumbass, right?
Right. That's funny.
But no, God made me different. I know shit. That's all I do is learn. Like I feel weird if I'm watching something on TV or like a movie. Like if you catch me watching something on TV, it's probably Animal Planet.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, outside of Mandela effect and stuff like that, I really don't have much left on this topic.
No, it's fine. Listen, we do not have to go long tonight. I've got a terrible meeting in the morning that I don't want to host.
That's fine by me. I mean, we're not that far behind our regular schedule.
Yeah. No, I'll try to get, I did a world record amount of verses in a 40-minute window. I'll try to do the same thing next week just so we can get to where we're going.
Okay. And I'll see if I can come up with some later type material
Yeah, you can
that
always do
that might
yeah.
touch on some of the little meat sections that we're going to be going through
Mm-hmm.
in relation, because that would help.
I think it's fine. Yeah, like one of the neat things about probably any good work of art, but the Bible really does this really well. All the parts relate to each other.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. We played a video a long time ago where they connected the different parts of the Bible, and they were talking about how, what did they make reference to? What do they call it? Did they reference it to like a HTML link? You don't remember that one? That was like when we first started doing this, and it looked almost rainbowish.
Oh, yes, the hyperlink. Hang on, I can find that. Yeah, I found it.
How did you find it so fast?
Because, dude, that's what I do, man. No, I just typed in Bible and hyperlink, and it popped up right away.
Okay. Because sometimes I'll save that kind of stuff on YouTube, and then when I go back, because I got files or folders that I've created, and I'll go back to look up something, and YouTube's deleted it. You know? Oh, that shit pisses me off.
Almost 64,000 cross references, it says.
For all the new people that's here in the chat, let's close out with that, because that was
Yeah.
really interesting.
So here's kind of like.
Yeah, that one.
Let me try to get it. Yeah, it's controlling the.
How long is that a video?
No, it's just a little image of. If you look down at the bottom, there's the actual like chapter and maybe verse, I guess, and then the links to each other. But I can't zoom in. Here, let me find it better.
I do have a link on my YouTube. It's about 5 minutes. And he's talking about
Here we go.
this was he a microbiologist?
So there's kind of the image. Let me share it to you.
But anyway, it's this preacher talking to I don't know if he's a preacher, but he's talking to this microbiologist, and the guy is telling him, hey, you need to talk about this. And he's pretty much like, well, what's so important about that? And by the time you get to the end of what he's talking about, the breakdown of it was Jesus's cross being on our DNA.
Oh, cool.
And then he sent him a picture of what it looks like through an electron microscope. I thought that was pretty cool.
Let me see if I can find that.
That should be relatively close to the top. because I haven't really posted anything today.
Okay.
Oh, here's that Jordan Peterson hyperlink. This is only 2 minutes, 16 seconds. We can do the other one next week if you want.
Sure, yeah. Let me find... Well, here, let me share. Will you hear it if I share the audio? I think you will.
I don't know. I'm going to put this one on my... the hyperlink one. I'm going to put this one on my Facebook so you can click it.
The tour was winding down last time around. We were in Tyler, Texas. The night was over. A guy walks up to me. I wish I could tell you the whole story. It was so...
Are you able to hear that?
Introduces himself to me, says, how are you doing? I just want to say hello. I said, it's nice to meet you. He says, you guys winding the tour down. Where are you going to go from here? I said, well, I'm on my way back home to Atlanta, Georgia. He said, well, what's next for you? I said, I'm going to be preaching the next 2 Sundays for my pastor back in Atlanta. He said, oh, cool. What are you preaching on? I said, well, the series is on the glory of God in the human body. He said, that's really amazing. I'm a molecular biologist at the university down the road. Give me your talk. And I was like, oh, wow. I wasn't quite yet ready to unload the talk for a molecular biologist. So I kind of stumbled through what I had, and he's kind of being kind and gracious and like, that's good. And then he says, well, what's your big left hook? You got to have a left hook, a big finish, right? I said, I don't have a left hook yet. He said, oh, Louis. Oh, man, your left hook is laminin. And I'm totally blank on laminin. He goes, Louis, it's a cell adhesion molecule. Protein molecule? Do you know about proteins? I'm like, no. He said, Louis, cells organize into certain molecular structures, and that determines what protein there are. There are between 10 and 60,000 proteins in the human body. We don't even know how many proteins are in the human body. But one of them is a cell adhesion molecule. It's organized into this certain structure, and that tells the cell what its job is in the body. And this one is a cell adhesion molecule. And I'm like, all right. He said, no, Louis, it's like the rebar of the human body. The steel they put in the concrete when they lay the foundations of things, it's that stuff. It's holding your membranes together. It's the glue of the human body, Louis. It's laminin. You got to tell them about laminin. And I'm like, I promise you, I'm going home and tell them about laminin. And I'm sure when I do, revival is going to sweep across the church and probably around the world when I tell them. He said, no. You got to see laminin. I'm like, okay, let's see it. He said, no. You need to go look it up online. You need to go Google laminin. I don't even know how to spell laminin. Takes his card out. He writes on the back, Laminin. I'm like, okay, I cannot wait to get to my computer and get on Google, click on images, type in laminin, and I'm waiting, and these little thumbnails come up on the screen, and I'm like, wow. That's laminin? The cell adhesion molecule. Woo! I am so excited. I am beside myself. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I love laminin. I'm so fired up. You should see laminin, I guess. That's the thing, right? Okay. Here is a scientific diagram of the laminin cell adhesion molecule that's holding your body together right now, okay? This is what I found right here. No, come on, that's crazy. That's just crazy. I can't believe it. I emailed that guy back so fast, I'm like, wow, what in the world? He said, you want to see an actual laminin molecule? I'm like, oh no, man, the diagram was cool for me. I'm happy with that. Don't bother sending anything else. I'm like, yes! And he sends me this image, an electron microscopic image of an actual laminin protein molecule. It looks just like this. Like, how crazy is that? That the stuff that holds our bodies together, that's holding the lining of your organs together, holding your skin on, is in the perfect shape of the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ. And immediately I'm thinking about the words of Paul in Colossians 1. You know this beautiful passage where Paul's talking about the supremacy of Christ and the sufficiency of Christ. He says, for by him, talking about Jesus Christ, all things have been created. Things in heaven and things on earth. All things were created by Jesus and for Jesus. But then the next verse goes on to say this. It's crazy. And he, Jesus, is before all things. And in him, that is, in Jesus Christ, all things hold together. It's right. It's right there. I'm like, of course they do. Of course they do. Everything holds together in Jesus Christ. And he goes on at the end of this paragraph, and he just tells the story of grace. He says, for God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in Christ, and through Christ to reconcile to himself all things by making peace through his blood shed on a cross.
Right on. What was the other? Let me go back to your page. What was the other one I'm looking for?
I just posted it, so it should be the first one.
Up top. Let me refresh.
I want to show you a picture. This is an amazing picture.
Unless,
so let me tell you what this is.
Facebook is being asshole.
So the Bible is the world's first hyperlinked document.
I don't even see it.
So what you see at the
bottom. I see that Ford logo thing.
There's a line
I'm sharing
along
it
the bottom,
to you in the meeting.
and then there's small lines coming down from it.
Is it not playing you the audio? Oh, sorry. My bad. My bad.
This is an amazing picture. So let me tell you what this is. So the Bible is the world's first hyperlinked document. So what you see at the bottom, there's a line along the bottom, and then there's small lines coming down from it, okay? Each of those, the line has dots on it. Each dot is a verse, okay? And then there's a line associated with the verse that's of varying length, and the length corresponds to how many times that verse is cross-referenced somewhere else in the document. And then these rainbow-colored lines are the cross-references. So now that's really worth thinking about. So then you think, well, that book is deep. Well, why is it deep? Well, it's because every single thing in it refers to every other thing. It's connected like your brain is connected. Like it's not a linear document. And the thing is, a book is a very strange thing, right? Because when you, or even a story, because when you lay out the story, in some sense you're like God. You're outside of the space and time of the story. And so you can adjust the end to make the beginning different. You know how if you watch a movie and it's got a surprise ending, it changes the beginning. You thought the beginning was one thing, but it isn't. It's something else. Well, when you lay out a story, you can fiddle with the story anywhere in the story. And you can also make something that happens before dependent on something that happens after, which is very strange. And that's what's happened with the Bible, because people have worked on it, trying to synthesize it and make it coherent and make it make sense. And so they're continually connecting everything that's inside of it to everything else. And so you end up with a document map that looks like that. You might say, well, where's the meaning in the literary work? And the answer is, it's in the words. Word by word. It's in the phrases. It's in the sentences. It's in the relationship of the sentences to each other. It's in the relationship of the sentences within paragraphs. It's in the relationship of the paragraphs within the contexts of the chapters. And it's in the relationship between the chapters and the whole book, and then the book in the whole culture.
Nice.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that when I was talking about. So because of that principle, if we're going into kind of like, we're going into a repetitive kind of, like the season we're in, bring stuff from before or after, anything you want, anything that relates, or even if you just think it might relate.
I'll try to do that next week. Here,
nice.
Let me write it down so I don't forget.
And I might do that too. If I haven't been doing this, but now that the tone is changing, we're getting Genesis chapter 1 was so compressed because you're talking about the entirety of creation. Took 6 days, took 6 million years, whatever it took. It's like 5 sentences, or it's like a half a chapter.
Right.
So now we're in chapter 24, and it's starting to get a little bit more like a normal story. Like people are talking, and they're going, "Hey, can you believe what this dude did?" So it's stretched out a little bit more. So what I haven't done, and you're making me realize, I could just take 5 minutes and go, "This is related to that. This is related to that." So yeah, if we both bring a little bit of that, that could help. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, because the last couple of weeks there hasn't been really much to go over. It's been pretty simple,
Yep.
Last week I was actually surprised that we stretched it that long.
Yeah, we had a good time. Who called in last week? Was it the Texan?
Or you know what? The week before that we stretched it. Last week we just kind of
last week too.
Yeah. So, with that said, I don't really have much for final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like that breakdown with the land? How do you pronounce it? Laminin.
All right. So when they it's actually while he was doing that, I'm looking at some of you do find some really good stuff, and I'm going to dig into it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The actual electron microscope picture, I'm like, it's kind of a cross, but I didn't really see it as a straight up cross. But maybe I was just being Scroogey.
I thought the same thing, but then you also have that other one where they talk about the name of God is on our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
If you convert the number strands into letters.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's all over our DNA. Now, when it comes to this serpent bloodline, I don't know what's on their DNA.
Probably not the name of God. I always think of, whenever that comes up, I always think of the close-up picture of grass with smiley faces. Have you come across that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, here, let me show you. Grass, smiley faces, microscope, maybe. Yeah, let me zoom in here. So this is apparently, this is all over the place. You get these pictures. I'll share it here in just a second. Let me zoom in. This is what chlorophyll or some parts of grass or something, or plants, various plants. When you zoom way in, you start getting this image, which is pretty fun. Let me share it out. You will see that.
I have never seen that before.
Oh, dude, it's fun. I'm glad.
At first, I thought it was photoshopped.
Yeah, they might have. I don't know. You can read up, if you start digging around. Here's the. Let me share this tab instead. Suresh Babu found these pictures.
Crazy. If that's not Photoshop, man, that is crazy.
It's a micrograph of a leaf of grass. So a micrograph, I don't know what a micrograph is. Oh, it's stained. So the colors can be whatever you stain them with, but the shapes is, I guess, what, they don't make up. So it's these smiley faces. They're kind of cute.
No, I have not ever come across anything like that.
I mean, you can't help but grin when you see this guy.
I might have to look that one up. Oh, man.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what it means, but I always think of it whenever we get into stuff like that. Mary BG2 says the creator signed his work.
Yep.
For sure.
I saw that video the first time about 3 years ago. 2.5, 3, something like that. That's about right, 3. And I just didn't even know what to say after that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, it didn't surprise me, but the fact that you have scientists that were probably atheists putting that together with the numbers and the sequences,
Right.
yeah, there's something to it, people. And if there's not, I'd rather be on the right side and be wrong than
Right.
you know where I'm going with that.
That's Pascal's wager. At least that's what I call it. He said, "Look, you can't lose. Like you bet on the man upstairs, because if he's real, you better, and if he's not, you can't lose. You're no worse off."
Exactly. And going over the Bible, you might hit some dry spots from time to time, but for the most part, it's an interesting tale of what happened. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, if you want to close, I'm down for that.
Right on.
I didn't expect for you to play both those videos.
We were, it's only 1 a.m. over here, so there's time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to get up early as always. Boo.
All right. Well, I don't got nothing for a close. The videos do it for me.
Perfect. Yeah, I don't have a close. I mean, thinking in my mind back over the text from today, I do feel kind of like his test of her wasn't just only a, hey, I'll do this coincidental thing and that'll tip me off. It was kind of like, hey, will this person be like overly polite? The test had a little bit of helping a stranger built out into it. So that's the only real comment that I had.
With all the other vague things that we've come across with the Bible, you never know. He could have seen 10 other women before this took place.
That's true. I was wondering about that.
Yeah,
But it does say he had just gotten into town. So. But yeah, he might have been eyeballing all of them. And who's to say on the way out of town, if somebody better came by, he would have been said, never mind.
What is the last message on the foxhole?
Louis Giglio. Indescribable.
Do you know anything about that?
Uh-uh.
Here, let me write that down.
There's a song that comes to mind. Indescribable. Let's see. Let me see.
You know what that reminded me of was, you ever see the movie Princess Bride?
Oh, yeah. Inconceivable.
I love that movie. Oh, man. You ever see that movie, Bernie? Princess Bride?
I don't think so.
I think it came out in
Hey,
So how do we know?
So I'm going to put this link in the chat. This is probably, I think this is what Mary BG2 is talking about. All right, brother. Anything else?
No, I was just writing down indescribable.
All right, I put a link also in the chat. I think it's it.
Okay. Well, chat, I've already typed in good night to everybody or whoever's left.
Dang.
Wait, what was this link again?
Indescribable.
All right, let me copy it.
Louis Giglio. It looks like it might not be 100% flat earth friendly from what I was seeing, but I might be wrong.
Well, they're not all perfect, you know. All right.
Oh, he's even got shots of the earth that are, yeah. But anyway.
All right.
Yeah,
No, I got that copied. I'll
Good
bring
deal.
that up on YouTube later.
Good deal.
But no, I mean, as far as what it was still a good conversation.
Yep.
Until next time, people.
Right on. All right,
Have
Brother Yoda.
Have a blessed rest of your week. Oh, you know what? I don't like using the word blessed anymore. Did I tell you about that one? You know how they like that wordplay?
Right? Oh, yeah.
Be less is in there.
English is a
And
bear.
it makes me not even want to use that word anymore. It makes me self-conscious of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why we got to just switch to Hebrew.
Dude, it'd probably be easier to learn Chinese.
Yeah. I tell you, after a year of doing this, I know 6 words.
All right. Well, until next week, stay 100.
Right on, Brother Black Yoda.
I prefer that better.
Yep. I'm down.
You can't go wrong with that one, right?
That's right. Well, thanks
All
so
right.
much for co-hosting, Black Yoda.
Oh, no problem, man. Later, chat.
Peace. Oh, I just flipped the camera. All right, so let's do quickly. Let me play The Can from Sloan TV. Mary BG2 points out that God named the stars. I agree. I think the stars correspond in some way that I don't fully understand highly with, may not be exactly the same, but seem to correspond with the angels, according to the text. All right, we've started the outro music, so let me get her done. I would like to thank co-host Black Yoda for keeping it 100. The word origins don't work that way. Blessed does not mean be less. Sure, but there's a little bit of control in the English language, I think. Prairie Fire. But yeah. I'm going to break down the green screen. And during that time, I'm going to go say hi to Dodger Chat. I will also swing by Sloan TV Chat. And probably more while I'm breaking it down. Oh, here comes another can. Hold on. Hang on. I tell you what, you're inspiring me to say the following. I got to be careful because I don't ever like to dig. But let me just tell you, I've got hotkeys. We've seen cookie, we've seen can, we've seen shades, we've seen phone, we've seen ship. I'm pretty sure we've seen fleet. And I'll just leave it at that. And that's not a dig or anything. But I'm keying off of you. You're like, that was fun. Do it again. And I finally hotkeyed them too, so the animations can pop out right as they happen. But yeah, thanks for that extra can. Which reminds me, I better release the gold pills. Let me do that next. Let me start the background music again, the outro. And let's release the gold pills. The gold pills today were made possible, the scratching, by creative writer and Sloan TV. So, Australian just popped on. Or no, was on, but yeah. So, on Friday, probably at 5:30, maybe delays, maybe a lot of delays, maybe no delays. Look for Mr. Anderson, used to be called Angular, and G. Ross on the Bread Pill Weekly right here in the Foxhole under the G. Ross channel. Sunday night, Armor Up with Sloan TV, Revenge Odi Deutsche, and G. Ross. Simul-streamcast on Sloan TV and G. Ross. That's going to be Sunday night at 10 Eastern, 9 Central p.m. And then back here Wednesday, 11 p.m. Central for the rest of Chapter 24, or at least more of it. All right. I think I can really give us our proper outro. So with that, love you all. Thank you for spending time with us. We're joined on Fridays by co-host Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore. Be sure to catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, or Facebook. Current shows include the Bread Pill Weekly. You've been red pilled, now be the red pill. You're out of the oven and ready for delivery on our weekly alternative news roundup and call-in show on Foxhole, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Central, co-hosted by G. Ross and Angular. Current shows include Epistemology for Fun and Profit, where woo meets goo. You're in the woo, and the woo is in you. A philosophical call-in show with occasional guest interviews, diving into the oldest questions. Most episodes are exclusively on the foxhole.app, Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Central. Current shows include 9dNation, the nation with no denomination. Declare to the custom agents any edible plants or miscellaneous worldviews. We take a look back at how we got here, eventually leading into a regular Wednesday night Bible study at 11 p.m. Central. Catch us on the foxhole.app, DLive, YouTube, and Facebook. Our Friday co-host is Angular. This has been G. Ross, and you are the underscore.